Welcome to Coach Fishbowl 2015. I'm Jody McCrane, past president of the Washington State chapter of the International Coach Federation. I'm joined today by three esteemed coach members of our Washington State chapter. They're going to demonstrate the art and practice of coaching in celebration of International Coach Week. Today, we have the opportunity to witness a coaching session followed by the comments from a mentor coach. Normally, coaching is done private to assure the confidentiality between the client and the coach. We are privileged to step into and view this coaching experience and learn from their willingness to share about the art and science of coaching. So I'd like to introduce our esteemed coaches, starting with our coach, Nora Tabler. Nora.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you very much, and thanks for putting this program together for Coaching Week. My name is Nora Tabler. I'm a life and career coach in Seattle, and I just completed my ACC credentialing, so I'm very thrilled to announce that just happened for me. I have a practice that consists mainly of, I'd say, mid-level to upper-level professionals who are just seeking more job satisfaction or perhaps a shift in their career. And I also seem to be coaching a fair number of millennials who are quite rewarding because they have this blank slate ahead of them and they're just full of hope and optimism and possibilities. It's pretty exciting work. My background includes a hybrid of experience in the public, private, and government sectors, and I bring most of that kind of experience and wisdom to bear when I do work with my clients. So with that, I'll turn the introductions over to June. Barb?
June, as our client, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is June Jordan. I have been away from corporate America for about a year now. I made the decision to step away and do something that would make my life more interesting and kind of follow a dream. So right now I am in the process of completing my coach-specific training hours through Seattle Coach. And my goal in the future is to probably not coach in business, but coach more one-to-one. And I have a particular interest in working with people who are preparing for perhaps marriage, making sure, a lot of times we're so happy to zoom into marriage that we forget about all the things that can trip us up later. So that's one of the things that I want to focus on is people who are preparing for marriage or people who have been in marriage and then just kind of checking to see how things are going. So that's kind of my goal right now. And I really am appreciative of being a part of this process today.
Thank you, June. Welcome. And our mentor coach, Barb McAllister.
Hi, everybody. My name again is Barb McAllister, and I am a PCC, a professional certified coach. Coaching is my second career, and I have been coaching with my own business, Thrive Coaching and Consulting, for 9 years now. I have a whole bunch of niches. I like to do a lot of different things, and some of my niches are I like to coach coaches. I like to coach managers and executives who want to be great leaders. And I like to coach individuals that are in transition of one kind or another, like from one career to another or one relationship to another. I coach people in both business and life, and I especially like to support people with work-life balance because that's always been an issue of mine. I coach individuals, I coach teams, and I coach couples. And I also train coaches. I've had a lot of experience training coaches, and right now I'm doing a webinar with coaches about how to get your stuck clients unstuck. So that's it for me, and I'm happy to be here as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome all of you, and we're going to get started. And take it away, Nora and June.
Well, good morning, June. I'm just thrilled to be able to coach with you over the phone like this for Coaching Week. And I would like to share with the others that we did have a conversation earlier in the past few days to discuss an issue that was bothering June or on June's mind. So we'll address that in today's session. So I want to just confirm with you, June, that the issue we discussed earlier is what you want to discuss today.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Okay, and that issue is procrastination?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. It's a bugaboo for many of us. So in your mind, June, what would be a desired outcome for today's session?
I think I would like to have walk away from today with having a clearer perspective on sort of the why I do it. I don't know why I do it. It would be really helpful to get kind of some clarity on that.
Okay, great. I think we can try.
Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you just went on mute for a second.
Okay. Okay, so June, sorry about that. So I guess my first question for you to kind of get this dialogue going would be, what does procrastination feel like for you when it occurs?
It feels like knowing I need to do something, but finding a reason not to. It's this little thing in my head about, you got to do it. It's only going to take a few minutes. Why not just do it?
Right.
But
so does it? Okay.
It almost seems like there's a force that's preventing me from moving forward.
Okay. And does that occur with all the initiatives that you try to take in your life, or is it just a certain part of your life where this might happen?
That's a really good question, because when it comes to commitments or things that I need to do alongside other people, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that, because it's not just about me; it's about them as well. So that's not a problem. But when it comes to things about maybe things that I want to do personally, things that, tasks around my home, things like that, for some reason, I find every reason not to get started.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me step to maybe a higher level view of this particular issue. How do you want to feel about this procrastination? I mean, how do you want to feel about that?
I want to feel like it's no longer an issue. I want to feel that it is, it's not going to pop up. It's like a little monster face that keeps popping up.
Okay.
and I can feel it coming on, but it goes back to even in school. At the beginning of a quarter, you've got this major thing you've got to do. It's a major project. If you start today and set up a plan to do a little bit every day, then there won't be this pressure that seems to become this weight later on when you've got, down to 3 weeks. What am I going to do? And then it becomes more of a fretful thing that has to be done. What I want to feel is that I've got to do this thing. Okay, let me, develop a plan. How is this going to work? And I feel excited about doing things.
Right. So if I can repeat back to you what I thought I heard you say, is that when you want to do a personal initiative, you feel an inner critic or inner voice that says, let's not try that right now, or some kind of a cautionary voice that says, let's just put that off for a while. That might be unpleasant, or it might be too hard, or I just don't want to deal with it. And you want to have, you want to get rid of this so that you can move forward. But there's a reason that this is coming up, and that's the part that may seem ambiguous to you at this point. Is that a correct reflection back to what you said? Did I get that right?
I think you got it. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, but then how would this procrastination, how is it serving you right now? Because it does seem to.
So you asked me the question. I was very, very quick. Did you pick that up? I was very quick to say, oh, it's not serving me, because it isn't.
Okay.
But it must be.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it seems to be serving some kind of purpose.
Yeah.
Huh.
It must be serving something, or I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that would be, I need to find a way to explore that. It isn't pleasant for me when I'm then down to crunch time to have to hurry up and get something done, or
Right.
this thing that I needed to do didn't get done, and now it's worse off than it was before. You know, you get that?
Yes.
You know, it's like something needs to be fixed. Oh, I got to get to that. Well, but then I don't.
Okay, well, going back to when you said earlier in our conversation that you don't, there's a procrastination monster, if for lack of a better word, pops up. When you said it doesn't happen when you're doing things with other people.
Right.
So that June, if we can say that version of June seems to be well in control of not letting this happen. And I wonder if there would be an occasion in your life when that June is fully operational, like with your friends or family or a group, and what kind of strengths does she draw upon to make that happen?
When I'm doing for others?
Yes, when the procrastination is not present and you're moving forward with an initiative in your life,
mm-hmm. What
are the strengths you're using at that point to make that happen versus not doing something?
Strengths. Okay. That takes some thought, because I just do it. I'm not even aware that there's something that I have to pull from in order to make it happen. I do it because I think if I think about the things that I really enjoy in life, it is about being in service to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoy my time volunteering. It's effortless. I don't.
Okay.
It comes from a place of being joyful. You know, really, really getting excited about it, and it seems to be effortless.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm trying to just see if there's any way we could pull from that well of strength and purpose to help move forward in the area of your life where you do procrastinate.
Well,
didn't know if that would be possible.
Yeah, I have to really think. So I'm picturing myself now.
Okay.
Doing something for someone else.
Uh-huh.
That if I did it for myself would be a chore.
Okay.
And I think it's, doing for other people who maybe for some reason are unable to do for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
or they're lacking something and I can fill in for them. Like, they don't have time to do something. Oh, I can, let me do it. I have time for them,
Right.
but not for me. So so the feeling I get when I do that is definitely internal happiness.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It is feeling like I'm doing something for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
And, as I say that, doing for the greater good, it could be that doing something for me is I feel more selfish.
Oh, I see.
That just popped into my brain.
Well, good. I mean, maybe that's something that needs to be thought about a little bit, because, gosh, it would seem to me that if you were doing things for yourself, then you could probably be of even greater service to those that you want to volunteer with and help. Just a thought.
No, I'm kind of going, because it's a totally different perspective. I think that the way I live my life is I look outside to see what I can do. I look outside to see what I can do. And
that is just lovely that you do that.
What's
Sorry,
that?
I had to say that. That's just lovely that you do that. I'm sorry, I just had to tell you that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, I used to use this phrase all the time. It's called my strength is my weakness.
Okay.
And I think that wanting to be in service to others can definitely be a strength. I think that, and I feel happy when I'm that way. I feel on top of the world when I can end my day knowing that I've done something really good that gets someone else to kind of move their dial a little bit in the direction where they need to go.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
might be so focused there that I'm not tending to business where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you do that, full steam ahead, helping others and feeling good about it at the end of the day, though, how's your personal energy after that?
I feel good. I don't feel drained.
Okay.
I feel like I still have, more steam in my engine to go and keep doing.
Okay. Because I'm thinking back to when we were talking about the procrastination piece and how that seems to show up when it's just things that you have to do for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems there might be a link there between doing more things for yourself so that you can be even better when you're doing things for others. I don't know if there's a link there or not, but there could be.
No, it sounds like there definitely might be a link there. Getting to it, that probably could be explored.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know we're getting probably to the end of our coaching time, so I wanted to wrap up with maybe just a result. You said you wanted to have a clearer perspective, on
Yes.
why you procrastinate, and I hope that's emerging for you in your mind. But is there any one thing that we can take from your life now that something you're procrastinating about now, and use that as our example, as maybe something you could maybe use this clearer perspective to work on between now and when we talk again at our next session? Is there an example?
Well, for example, I kind of laying it all out here. Even with the training that I'm participating in, the activities that I am doing in partnership with others is going. I'm there. I'm available. I'm making it happen. That's great. There are a couple of things that we need to do for ourselves, kind of solo. And those are things I'm dragging my feet on.
Okay. And can we just zoom in on one of those to discuss now?
Sure.
What would those be?
Well, there's an activity that I need to do to present to the rest of the students, for example, on my next steps.
Okay, the next steps presentation with Seattle Coach.
Yes.
I'm familiar with that.
Yes.
Okay, that is a big assignment. I can see why you have a little angst about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of like maybe a takeaway or a clearer perspective on this issue of procrastination, using that example, is there anything you can think of in terms of like a homework or an action that might help you just take one little step further on that, on getting something done on that?
Well, I think what needs to happen, and this is maybe just the logical step, is I need to get it out of my head, what I need to do, and sketch out some sort of a outline of what I need to do, because in my head, it's bigger than life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes in my head, I create things bigger than life. I think if I can get it out of my head and sketch out an outline of what are the key pieces that I think should be included, I can make, my whole brainstorm list, and then I can go through and take away the things that may not be that important ultimately, and keep the things that I think are the things that I really want to share.
Wow, you just sound really energized right now. That was a great couple sentences. Wow. Well, is there a metaphor we could come up with maybe to help you keep this in the front of your mind as you go through the next week? Because what I heard you say was it's just that maybe part of the procrastination issue is that the assignment, next steps presentation assignment is so big that you're like, there's no way I can start this. It's too big. And what I heard you just say, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you make it smaller and maybe do little pieces and slices of it, it might be a little easier to get started.
Yeah, kind of break it into little small bites. And I think that right now it's one big bite and it's all consuming, and I don't even know how to wrap my brain around it. So figuring out, what's the logical next thing, and then once I can take care of that, then it's probably easier to move on. So I don't know, maybe break it down into little chapters.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
You know what I mean? Like short chapters. Like, for instance, there are some books and the chapters are like, 50 pages. That's too much.
Oh.
But maybe break it down into like a little short chapter with only 2 steps, maybe 2 steps at a time.
I'm liking this metaphor. It's much better than the word monster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Wow, okay. So then the procrastination could then be a metaphor for it, could be a book, perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay. With maybe some small chapters in it.
Small chapters.
Yeah, okay.
Chapters that don't take ever to get through before you get to the next one.
Right. Well, I wonder how long, in your mind, each chapter would take. Would it be a day, a week?
I'd like to have chapters that could last maybe just a couple of hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Because my belief is once I get into it and set it all up, it'll go smoothly. It's just starting it that is the issue. And so I've been putting it off because I've kind of started it in my head, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I guess it's more real for me when I start putting it on paper or in a more of a tangible context.
Right. Boy, getting back to the question of how you want to feel about this, if you achieved one of the chapters in your book in a few hours, boy, that might feel pretty good.
I think it would feel pretty good, and I think it would also energize me.
Yeah. Okay. What would the name of this book be? Do you have any ideas, or just book?
June's book.
There you go. I like
That's
that.
simple.
That's great. And the thing about the book metaphor is, if it becomes too heavy, you'll know when you lift it up, and you'll think, okay, this is too heavy. And I need to make some smaller chapters in the book. Because
I think sometimes less is more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was that sentence you said earlier in our session? You said something about the quote you used. Can you repeat that for me again?
Gosh.
Every success has a...
Oh, sometimes my strength is my weakness.
My strength is my weakness. That's very interesting. That's something I need to think about. How would that show up with this particular issue?
If I look at my strength in helping and doing for others, it demonstrates sort of a weakness that I'm not giving that same level of strength to myself. So my weakness here is that I'm not tending to me.
Yeah.
And I think that I need to turn that around.
Yeah. Yep. Because I think your book's pretty important.
It is, because it's my story. It's my book.
Yeah, it is your story, and it's a fabulous story. The parts I've heard of it today. I mean, I just think you're going to be an outstanding coach.
Thank you.
You've just got the right. I really do. I think you've got the right energy for it, and the right. Your passion is just coming through in the phone call, because you just love helping people reach their potential and be happy and everything. I just think I can feel it when we talk. It's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great. Well, do you feel like we've covered everything you want to speak about today?
You know, this has been it's like a little small grain of sand in my shoe that I can't quite get out, and it's been kind of nagging at me a little bit. And
Uh-huh.
I I think there's something to be said about saying it out loud.
Uh-huh.
Something to be said about just being straight up. This is what I'm doing, but also establishing what it is that I can do next. And I think what I can
Uh-huh.
do next is to start, making little small bites, small headway into what I have to do. I think I'm creating a bigger issue than maybe is really there. And
Uh-huh.
and if I actually take the time to get it out of my head and put it on paper, I think that is tremendous. So I
Okay.
I feel I feel energized right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear that. I had a wise person tell me once in my life that if it's not written down, it doesn't exist.
Oh.
And that's one of my favorite quotes to guide my life.
Hmm.
Yours is my strength is my weakness, and one of mine is if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. And that helps focus me sometimes when I feel, as you feel, just kind of like you're wandering around a little bit and you want to just land somewhere. And that helps me sometimes just journaling or making a to-do list. Something that simple just helps me personally in my life refocus. So I think this metaphor of a book and writing some of this down or just thinking of chapters to accomplish is a great action for you to maybe work on before we meet again.
Thank you. That's something that I can begin immediately.
Okay, great. All right.
So
Well, thank you. This has been.
I want to thank June and Nora for that coaching call and putting their vulnerability out there and letting us experience and step into their conversation. And now I'd like to invite our mentor coach, Barb McAllister, in, and she has some comments about the coaching.
Thank you, Jody. And Nora and June, it was great to listen to you. And I think the first thing that I want to really comment about is core competency number 3, establishing trust and intimacy. It seemed clear to me that June, that Nora, that you actually created a safe, supportive environment for June to be able to say what she needed to say. And I love that you both showed up really authentic and vulnerable. So that was really beautiful. I want to also comment on, I want to actually go to the second core competency, the coaching agreement, getting the coaching request. You had said that you had talked prior to this conversation, and so that you knew that the topic was procrastination. And Nora, I heard you ask, what would be a desired outcome? And June, I heard you say a clear outcome of why. And then, Nora, I noticed that you went to, what does procrastination feel like for you? And one of the things that I might suggest in here is just more exploration of what she would be looking for in the coaching. So when June said a clear outcome of why, you might have tried a question such as, well, what will that give you? If you're clear about why you procrastinate, what is that going to give you? What are you really looking for? So perhaps a little bit more exploration there. Coaching presence. I thought you were great at that, Nora. Coaching presence for me means it's the ability to be spontaneous with the client, employing a style that is open and confident and flexible. And I definitely thought you had all of that. You were spontaneous. You were able to sort of go with the moment. You did a great job, bringing up metaphor. You were spontaneous, and you were able to actually hold both the content of what she was saying and the emotion. I noticed a couple of times when you were able to hear in June's voice, oh, you sound excited. So, great work there. That goes to active listening as well as coaching presence, being able to kind of be with it all.
Okay.
And let's see, what else did I want to comment on? You had some great questions in there. You definitely had some really powerful questions. One thing that I might suggest for you, Nora, is to create a little bit more space for the client to talk. I noticed there were a number of times that I noticed that you inserted your opinion, like, oh, that's great, or I do that. And in the end, you were kind of talking about things from your perspective. And a suggestion really is to really just mind the client's view. And I say as coaches, it's not really up to us to say, hey, that's great, or I think you're on the right track. It's really just all about the client. So you might just kind of watch for those kinds of comments that you insert at times.
Okay. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions too. When I'm going to put out some questions to you too. Okay. I'm going to stop here for a minute, but I wanted to look at actually comment on creating awareness, core competency 8. Yeah, I think, really powerful awareness that she realized that she doesn't really procrastinate when she works with other people and is doing stuff for other people, but it's about herself. So really great coaching that you were able to have her be present to that awareness. So then in terms of creating actions, what I want to ask you, Nora, is do you feel like it was clear the next action she was going to be taking and by when?
Well, I did say in the interview that we'd be meeting next week. It's a fantasy kind of thing, but I was just like, we'll meet next week. And I thought her homework was that she would create this book with chapters in it, and that would just be what she'd do between now and next time we see each other.
Okay. And so June, was it clear to you, because I'll just say it wasn't exactly clear to me what specific action. Yes, I got the book, I got the chapters, but I wasn't sure like how much of it or what specifically you were going to work on and by when. June, what's your take on that?
I didn't say how much I was going to work on. I said I was going to begin.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say specifically that I was going to complete chapters 1 through 3. And the reason is because I didn't have it mapped out yet. I didn't know, I think I initially said I needed to make some sort of an outline, and then I would need to begin to write a book with small chapters. So before I could actually write the book, I needed to complete the outline.
Okay. So was it clear, were you clear like when you were going to create the outline and by when? Do you guys think you got that kind of clarified in the conversation?
I didn't say by when, but I said I would start immediately. Mm-hmm. What we talked about today was something I felt energized and I could start immediately. But I didn't say that I was going to complete anything by any particular day and time. And
yeah.
To me, getting started was pretty good because I hadn't done anything at all.
Yeah. So listening to all that, June, would you do anything differently in terms of designing the actions and getting the next step?
I could have been really specific about what I needed to do. I could have said, I'm going to write an outline and I'm going to complete the outline. I don't know. That's the whole thing, is that if I haven't done anything, starting an outline, and once you start, I don't know how long the outline is going to be and what time frame it would take me. So maybe, if anything, I could have maybe been asked a different question, something that would kind of force me to commit to some certain point, or maybe to take me a little bit further into what I say I was going to do.
Mm-hmm. Nora, is there anything that you hear in this that would be useful for you in your learning?
I was feeling like I needed to be gentle with June because her coaching issue was procrastination. And I didn't want to be, kind of clamping down on her and saying, okay, so by next week you're going to have your outline prepared. And I thought, this may send her running to the hills for cover. And so I was trying to be gentle and just sort of, I was so thrilled when she said that she was going to write these little chapters. I was just thrilled when I heard that. And I thought, I just want to kind of nurture that thinking and that energy towards that. It sounded to me when she spoke about it that it was a manageable thing for her to do. It was a bite-sized piece. So that was my take. That was my take on it.
And you know what? Can I say something about that?
Sure.
I appreciate, Nora, that you. I am pretty sensitive about this, actually, and I think that if I felt pushed, I may have put my hands up like, it could have been uncomfortable for me.
Right.
And because for me, to make the start was huge.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's how I felt.
Yeah. So I really get that. And I'm wondering if it might have been great to explore, like, what do you need to give yourself to support yourself to begin this journey? So not so much a doing, but maybe even something like compassion, or maybe even explore, like, where might you begin this journey? So it's not so much a doing, but setting her up for success and seeing what other qualities perhaps she might need to bring to the party to make this successful for her.
I really like that sentence. I wrote it down. What do you need to do to support yourself in moving forward? I love that sentence, Barb. Thank you. That's fabulous.
Yeah, that's great. And one other thing too, when you were closing down the conversation, and great job to Nora. Getting the request, doing the coaching, and then sort of bringing it down. Okay, so with all this awareness, like, what's next for you? Great job with that. But one thing I noticed, in June has said, I need to get this out of my head because it's bigger than life. And so that might have been a place to explore more of getting, so what do you need to get out of your head? So what you said was, Nora, you said something about putting it in the front of her head after she had just said, I need to get it out of my head. So I would really have encouraged you there to say, so what is it going to take to get it out of your head? Or what do you have to let go of? Or can you think of another question right now, Nora, that might have been helpful there?
Maybe more about what would it take to get this thinking out of your head?
Yeah, that's great. And you had done a great job in the beginning when you asked her about the feeling state of the procrastination. I might also encourage you here to explore that too. So, when you get it out of your head, where else does it go in your body or in your heart, or, just coaching to like the full body. So there's so many different ways you could do that. And so what I noticed, this gets to active questioning, powerful questioning, which is number 6. So you did a great job of listening and generally, asking what I would consider to be the next logical question. But this was a place where you might have asked something a little different, because she so clearly wanted to get it out of her head. And you could have supported her perhaps by asking her some different questions.
Okay. Thank you.
I also thought at one point along the way, you guys had really had a great conversation about her awareness that she's not so good about, she procrastinates about herself, basically. And at one point I thought to myself, like, a question might be, what would be possible if you treated yourself as well as you treat others? Or what would be possible if you put yourself highest priority?
Yeah, I was thinking of that, but I didn't want to sound like I was judging her choices.
And so why do you think those questions, so say more about why you think those questions sounds like you might be judging her.
I really wanted to say, well, aren't you as important as the other people in your life? But I didn't. To me, that just is to me, that's like a trigger question. I mean, I don't know. I felt like that might derail our good dialogue we were having. I didn't want June to feel defensive. I don't know, that I just felt like that was a trigger question, but maybe that's something I need to work on. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you. Oh, go ahead, June.
I was going to say, if I were asked that question, I would not have been able to probably answer it for a while. I probably would have said something like, "Huh, wow," and then I'd have to sit with it. Part of who I am as an individual is that I'm very much an introvert. Takes me a while I like to roll things around in my head. That question's pretty darn powerful. And good question. What would be possible if you put yourself at highest priority? It would have been one of those questions that would have probably taken a little bit of my breath away, and I'd have to really sit with it for a while. So it could have almost not stopped the conversation, but it would have. I don't know. I'd have to sit with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you're saying that, because actually sometimes that's the very best place for a client to be, and for a coach, where the client is just, let me think about that. And I think the coach's stretch is just to allow the space for whatever to unfold to come out. So I'm just kind of putting that out as an option. And so I really want to ask you, Nora, what do you think worked particularly well for you in this conversation?
Well, I so appreciated June's vulnerability and honesty and openness and just clarity about what was bothering her. That was really helped me coach her, and I felt like we were in tandem. I could feel over the phone that we were kind of building a little energy up towards trying to solve this issue. I don't know. I just felt like we got a lot discussed in 20 minutes with other people listening in. I mean, that's a little daunting. So
yes, of course it is.
And so I'm used to more the one-on-one private conversations. So for a 20-minute kind of a public coaching session, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I hope June feels the same way.
Yeah, and so from the feedback that I gave you, what has stood out most for you, Nora?
I just loved all your comments. I've written them all down. I will be working more on creating more space for my clients, and trying to keep my opinions to myself. I liked comments about, where else does it go in your body? Like I need to get this out of my head. That should have been a statement that I should have maybe explored more fully. So I think my takeaway will be creating more space for clients and even listening more powerfully than ever to the things they say, and then trying to take more exploration just from that.
That's really beautiful. And June, what has really stood out for you in this conversation that's helpful?
As far as my relationship with Nora, being coached by Nora?
Or what you've learned from the experience of us three being together.
Well, as a student in the trying to get maybe towards certification, it was really valuable for me to hear that level of listening that can take me maybe a step maybe further, to ask the next question. Sometimes, staying with it maybe a little bit longer sometimes. Or even, when I made the comment about something in my head, I didn't right away think about, well, if it's not in your head, where else will it go? I mean, but now that I hear it, it's like, yeah, that makes, perfect sense. what I like about the coach session with Nora is that, as we look at the competencies, and I wrote like 2 pages of notes, Barb, as you were speaking about this. There was for me an immediate rapport, which is so important in a coach relationship. The rapport was there. If it hadn't been there, I probably wouldn't have wanted to be vulnerable because, well, it's an icky place to be. I think I spoke pretty freely, so the trust was definitely established in the warmth. And also, what I appreciated with what Nora did was that she acknowledged certain things about what I said several times, acknowledged positively, and that helped to even further establish the trust and the level of no judgment. And I really felt that she was partnering with me, which I know in a coach relationship, the partnership is important. I felt that very strongly.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. I just, she stuck with me. I didn't get a sense that there was any distraction going on. And I really felt heard, and I felt validated. And that's really important from a person being coached. Really important.
That's really great. Your guys' reflections are fabulous, and I want to acknowledge you both again for your vulnerability. Nora, once again, I want to acknowledge you for creating the atmosphere, as June has just said, for her to be so open and vulnerable. I also hadn't mentioned this, but I want to acknowledge you for some lightness and humor that you guys had in the conversation, and that's part of coaching presence number 4. Also, Nora, one thing I didn't mention is you had a nice way of being able to track stuff throughout the whole conversation. Yeah. You were able to kind of weave things back together from the beginning towards the end, and I just really acknowledge your, the artistry that you used in your coaching. And again, the use of metaphor was really great. And when we come up with metaphors, of course, it's always great to check with the client and make sure, hey, does this one work for you? And when you invited the ship from the monster to the book, and I think you said to her, hey, does this book metaphor work for you? And I think right, June, I think you said, yeah, it worked really well for you.
Yes. Provided it had small chapters.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was great. That was really, really powerful. So I think that's all I have. Is do either of you have any specific feedback for me before we close?
Since I'm still in the learning mode, I'm very appreciative of how you focused on the competencies and spoke specifically to them. I thought that was really important for me to hear.
Good.
Thank you. And yeah, I appreciate you being so open with the feedback, because sometimes feedback, it's not always that everything was perfect, but this is a learning opportunity, and I've learned tremendous amounts of information from this session.
Great.
Right.
Thank you.
I would echo the same thing, Barb. I thought your critique is excellent. I mean, you say things to help people improve what they're doing without making them feel bad, because they're not doing it as well as they should. You know what I mean? It's just a very, very beautifully delivered in a kind way that makes me personally receptive to the knowledge and comments you're making about my work. I mean, I feel energized from this, and as I mentioned earlier, I've taken notes because I just think your insights and comments were extremely constructive.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you both for your willingness to listen and be coached.
You're welcome.
So thank you all for letting us step into this moment. And before we sign off, I'm going to just invite each of you to give us a takeaway. So Nora, we'll start with you as coach. Do you have a takeaway from today?
I'm just going to be having more on my mind when I coach my clients to just have more space for my clients to share what they're coming to talk to me about, and not, sharing my observations as much, and just following more closely, what they're saying, and giving more space to that.
Oh, thank you. And June, do you have a takeaway?
I guess more from a standpoint of moving forward to be a coach myself is that, you don't learn it and then you're done. It's ongoing learning. And I'm excited about the opportunity to continue to learn and grow, to be the best that I can be as a coach, and to get to a point where I can coach like Nora, coach like Barb.
Thank you. Barb, your takeaway.
Yes, thank you. I'm present to gratitude and how miraculous sort of this learning journey is about learning to be a great coach, and how important it just is to practice and to continue to grow by receiving feedback. And I also learn every time I listen to people, so I'm grateful and appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
So we'd like to extend our thanks to Nora and June and Barb for allowing us to step into this coaching experience with them, and for their participation in this coaching fishbowl that allows us to both learn and celebrate coaches and coaching. So thanks for joining us today, and we hope that all of you have enjoyed it as much and learned as much as the four of us. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, Jody.